Traders, investors, and peeps, what is going on? We are back. Now, got some educational stuff and things today. Let's talk about trading breakouts. Or just trading, rocket ships, right? I know a lot of us are alert chasers, and that is not safe or healthy, but we all do it from time to time, and it's just important to understand how to manage your risk and when maybe to take or not take a setup. So if I'm going to get into a breakout, I like to look at a daily. Is it truly breaking out? And is there any resistance nearby? So candles gapping, there's some trend lines in there, so it's a little bit messy, but you got the gapping happening, so that's good. On the year chart, no resistance there, so clearly that's why it's gapping, because we're just above levels. Go on a bigger chart, a 3-year, and start to see some stuff. So did it validate at 1.9? Ah, behold, level. So I would call this day one of the breakout. On Tuesday, it ran up pretty clean. A little bit of resistance there, note the wicking. Doesn't test the level that day, but in the pre-market, it touches and turns. And then the next candle, you see it breaks it, and then kind of trends down, falls past it, and validates twice, and then market opens and it breaks through that level. Validating again, notice, at the high that it made earlier in pre-market. And then once that level is broken, it's able to ride up further, touching and turning on that other level, and then it ended up selling off. So I drew these orange trends. These are the trends that formed in the last couple of days here. And so you see, again, that high is validated, broken through, and it's allowed to uptrend, validated, breaks through. So always keep in mind levels, chart levels. So we got gapping, that's good. We're breaking through levels, and it looks like we're doing it fairly easily. So there you go. You definitely have found a breakout. So the problem with breakouts is they're moving so damn much, it's sketchy. Where should I get my fill? Where are the good levels? It's hard to know unless you do this. So if Thursday you wanted to get in this thing, then you would have drawn out all these levels, and you just see what validates. So pretend none of this is here, and we drew these levels. Pre-market opens, and you want to get in, right? So we're going to start building our position, but we're going to go small. I would go small at least. So since we've been holding the 180 for a couple days now, that's a good level to watch for touches and turns, as well as these other levels that we've drawn here. And so you could have drawn this channel just with yesterday's data and right when market opens, and then that would have validated further as the day went on. So 180's moving up, we're riding in a channel up, solid trend there. So at that point I would start building my position, and I would go small. So there's your first dip there. I would have added a little bit, and I don't want to go too big in pre-market just in case this thing decides to do a CTRM and go straight down. So I chose poorly on Thursday. We were trading this. I was feeling aggressive. I was off work, feeling kind of margin-y. So I was going to go very large, play this. I mean, it was riding above the SMA. It uptrending and breaking out of the channel. I mean, it looked pretty good. But you can't always account for news. They announced an offering, and it dropped like a rock. And so obviously, because market wasn't open yet, my stops weren't in place, and I had to cut it at a loss. But I hadn't really built out my position yet. I was adding dips. I didn't get this one. I got a little bit in here, and then I did that. So always be careful building up your positions, especially in pre-market, especially if you're dealing with really low float stocks like this. So, sometimes it be like that. I just chose poorly. So, anyways, I would have played this by seeing that it was looking nice. It was still holding all these trends. So I would have started going small, spec size, adding dips. But when it shoots up like this and kind of rings down, you're not going to be sure where the bottom is. And see, so it kind of fights it and then downtrends, touches on these levels again. So I would have been looking for this level to get validated. It was validated here, here, almost there. In the past it's been validated a lot. So I would have said, okay, if I can get it to cross or bounce in there, then I'll add, and then I'll add pretty big. So it would have bounced again, you know, double confirmation that that's a solid level. I don't know that I would have added twice, but I definitely would have added in here. You know, another good strategy if you're trying to get a breakout, you know, you don't chase it. You know, you buy dips or buy consolidation dips. So when this thing kind of crosses VWAP here and is trading in this range, you know, you see it validate that level 3 times before it reclaims VWAP. Test that level again. Let me extend that. Test that level again, and then it bounces back down. But notice this time when it crosses VWAP, now it's still doing some touch and turn action, but it's not at this level down here anymore. It's actually at the top of the wicks and at the bottom of some different candles. So the lows are getting higher, so an uptrend is forming. Once VWAP is reclaimed, and this is very important too, volume average, but once VWAP is reclaimed, it tests that level again and it breaks it. So I wouldn't buy here. You know, however, when you see it keep coming down and testing this level again, the resistance that was set back over in here that was tested 1, 2, 3 different times, I mean, more than that, just 3 different chunks, it was tested multiple times, right? So that is now a solid support, or you can assume that at least. I would. So now when it bounces again, you can add more, and then it breaks out. You know, that is optional. I like to scale into my positions and scale out of them. I just find it safer. And sure, you're going to end up leaving some money on the table, but I would rather, you know, get the warm fuzzies that, hey, this trade is going like I think it was going to go, you know, and reward myself by building my position out further and, you know, generating more money. So VWAP is very important, and so is the volume average. I mean, you notice when this little threshold, the line, the yellow line is crossed, and the volume is above the average, it can move to the downside or the upside depending on what the candle looks like, right? So, you know, that crazy buy volume right there was able to generate this giant candle. Conversely, you know, this red candle was able to bring it down a lot. So when the volume is under that threshold, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be under VWAP, but it's going to be harder for it to move. You know, and so notice how the volume rolls in when it's kind of trading sideways like this and consolidating. You know, the volume is just kind of chilling. You know, however, when it goes to break out and test a level again, you see the volume start to ramp as people are adding to their positions. I personally don't add as it's going up, but I like to buy consolidation, you know, pullbacks. The other thing to note, you know, is this upper VWAP line. Notice the touch and turn, you know, notice the touch and turn. That line, you know, represents the volume ceiling for the flow of volume coming in. And then something important also to note about breakouts and low float stocks. Notice what happens as soon as market hours end. It flies above VWAP, just absolutely surges. But look at the volume. Look at the volume average. Why are we getting these crazy above average volume candles over in here and it's doing this, but then market closes pretty average volume? Actually, you know, the volume's dying off quite a bit, and it does this. How? Why? It's because of shorts, man. It's because of day traders, right? Lots of brokers, especially ones that allow you to borrow and short, only have market hours, or they have very limited pre and post market hours. And so because of this, you are only fighting buyers and sellers. You're not fighting day traders that are shorting the tops and buying the bottoms and, you know, kind of just playing with this thing. So, you know, you got to know when to let your winners run and when to cut your losses. And so if I'm trading a breakout and it's really strong, you know, I would call this fairly strong. It really didn't lose many levels that it claimed. And so when it's strong like this, I always am hoping that it can hold strength into the after hours, because once it hits after hours, it has a really good chance of continuing to run, and you see this time and time again. Maybe not so much here, but the downtrend formed and it pushed it underneath VWAP. Notice the MAC as well. But over in here, we enter the post market or after hours above VWAP. You got the MAC opening up, and that is giving you a great setup for some after hours action. Notice here, we're way way under VWAP. MAC's really low. I mean, buyers did not have control there. Alright, so let's look at an example of something that wouldn't have worked. Let's say this breakout, ALPP, you were trying to get in. And so it's running and you don't want to get in. Let's say you missed this dip and you buy on this day. You say, oh, okay, I'm gonna swing this the next day. It's consolidating. It could run tomorrow. So you get one of these dips, or maybe you're late to the game and you get something in pre-market because you see this trend continuing. Well, when you get to this level right here, the high, the rejection point of yesterday, you see it starting to turn. And then when market opens, you have this giant sell candle. So what's happening here? You always have to think market psychology. Who's trading this thing? What's going on? Well, I probably wasn't the only one buying the dip on a sideways day, hoping that we had an uptrend sideways and then the uptrend would continue. It just went sideways for another couple of days before it took another run. However, notice the touch and turn action. So these peaks right here, market opens and it starts getting rejected in the pre-market, but then market opens and it sells off. So you have profit taking, you have people that were hoping to swing this into the next day, panic selling, and then you also have shorts rolling in. So you always have to kind of consider what are the players in the ticker that you're in. If it's Apple and not ALPP, well, maybe you don't have to worry about the same kind of stuff and things, but we are talking about a breaking out, low float stock. So those are the kinds of players that are going to be around. So market opens and it's downtrending, pops back up. I would have just dumped it at this point. I mean, if we open the VWAP, what's going on? So market opens and it tanks, shoots right back up. However, this wick starts to form. Well, now some of the lows or the median from yesterday is a resistance. You see it pushing off of it. I would have probably cut losses at that point. Could this thing continue and an uptrend? Absolutely. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's not good enough for me. I don't want to hold and put money on the line because I think something's going to happen. I want to make observations and make a plan, and if levels are validated and the stuff and things are playing out like I like and like I think they will, well, then you got the warm fuzzies and then you can do some things. But this is not working out, so I'm out. I'm cutting my losses. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want more content like this. And of course, you know the drill. Hit the thing, do the stuff. Follow me on the stuff and things if you want to see stuff more often. And join the Discord, man. It's awesome. We got people talking there about stocks all day. We have like 300 members now. And it's really nice just to have people to bounce ideas off of and to talk about similar stuff and things of interest. So come one, come all. We'd love to have you. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.